Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for your title about the Congress. Less architecture, I am agree. More city, we will see. It's not exactly the balance, but, and thank you, Ivan, for this very emotional church in Ethiopia, and it's a perfect link with my presentation. And the presentation is not exactly a presentation about different projects. It's more or less a research about with some fiction, some reference, some projects also, obviously. And the main idea is to increase the field of the architecture. It's clear for the city we could go high, very high. It's not finished. We could go horizontally, very large territory, never finished. And also we could imagine to use the underground resources. And underground resources is this title is groundscape. Groundscape is more or less the opposite of the landscape. It's not underground. And you could see this image is l'enfer de Dante, the hell of Dante. And this image is very interesting because our feeling about the underground situation and condition are very, we are very nervous. We don't like this kind of environment. It's dark, it's humid. You die, you go down, underground, more or less. And we would like to change this relationship between the ground floor and the underground condition and our life. During the 19th century and the 20th century, the underground development was uniquely about the transportation. And also we could compare, if you want, this kind of stacking underground with different transportation system, and on the right, this bubble underground like a city, autonomous city. And the autonomous situation, like an autist situation, is for me the specificity about the project. All projects are totally autist when they are going underground. You could see 2 towers in Paris, and the level of the floor, the public space is there. And the people build 1 tower with car park, another one tower with a car park. No connection. Everywhere around the world, no connection. No link between this kind of infrastructure. When the project will be completely finished, you have a wall, close this car park, and you have another wall along the wall, the former wall, closing the other car park. It's a very interesting situation, and maybe we could imagine another kind of relationship about the infrastructure and this kind of epidermis of the planet, of the city. The first example, a long time ago, in 85, more 30 years ago, is a project in Angers, in the west of France. It's a campus, and the project proposed a center for this campus with a learning center, as we say today, and is just a surface. This surface flush with the existing ground floor of the campus. And just underneath, we are digging to introduce some different facilities and programs like an amphitheater, library, and some other reading rooms and so. It's a very simple and direct and efficient action to create a new situation for the ground floor. And also, we could use this kind of fiction like more or less like a joke. It's a plan voisin in Paris. And we could imagine the plan voisin underground. And this kind of relationship between the célibataire building is creating or is involved in the library. In the library, you have 4 buildings creating a space. A lot of people know the National Library in France, and the people know the 4 towers. But in fact, the 4 towers are a part, important part about the skyline, but a very small part about the building itself. Because the most part of the building is underground. 200,000 square meters are built underground, 15 meters below the Seine River. It is a plan of the library. Where is the tower? There, 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 and there. But this building working with a new situation in the district, because this building creating in the same movement, in the same concept, in the same statement, 2 spaces. One public space, it is the esplanade, and another space, it is the garden, a forest. And the underground strategy could manage the relationship, a new echo or dialogue between the nature and the architecture, and also, obviously, with the city. And this kind of garden finally becomes like a biological or ecological piece of nature under control of the National Museum. And underground also is possible to introduce the natural light, because without the natural light, underground is another story. And another fiction with the Arc de Triomphe. And the underground strategy creating a new status for the memorial. You have a disc in glass, like a new pavement, with an alley in concrete, in stone, with a grab in the center. And the people could see from the underneath situation the monument. This project comes from this small chateau close to in the west of Saint-Germain-en-Laye, close in the west of Paris. And we imagine to transform this small castle, small manor, in a Congress center. And we extend, we increase this building underground. And this building is not very exciting. It's not a beautiful building, but the specificity of the building is there, is existing. And we use the existing condition without analysis about the beauty and the style, but the building is there. Okay, we work with the building like a material, and we transform this building in another building with the disc in glass. Seems to be like a pool. Also, in Paris, another example, the Place des Invalides. Because under this esplanade, you have a lot of facilities. You have some police station, you have some vacant parking, you have some other kind of facilities, and more working more or less. And we imagine to introduce with this kind of very light and superficial action or concept, another kind of function. Avenue Foch in Paris also. We make a collage between the university in Korea, you will see after, in the center of the avenue. And with this kind of approach, we transform totally the relationship between the above situation and underneath situation. And we are creating some function, facility, uses just underground at the place, exactly at the right place of the asphalt strip of the street. And the valley in the University of Iowa is the project, is a reference about this kind of fiction in Paris for Avenue Foch. And the Iowa is very impressive project because, in fact, we are building a landscape. It's not exactly the same attitude if you compare with the Michael Heiser, because the Michael Heiser action is a revelation about a landscape, existing landscape. For Iowa is the same proximity, if you want, about the feeling, but we don't want to develop a revelation. We would like to rebuild the existing topography in this campus. And this place is finally a building, build a landscape. It is exactly the opposite process as we know. And this place is a geographical project. But, you know, 2 years ago, from this university, 3,000 students, 4,000 students stay in this valley, and they change the president of the Korea. The protest starts from this place. And finally, this space, more or less underground, becomes a public space. He prolongs the expansion of the urban fabric and creating a new situation between the building itself, the campus, and the district around. Immediately, we could imagine some benefit about the sustainability, because we are in the soil, in the ground. And the inertia is absolutely perfect to develop a good strategy to respect and to maintain the quality of the cities. And also another aspect is the rendering about this kind of project, because you see nothing. It's difficult to show a facade for this kind of architecture, because this architecture is a network. In fact, if I would like to present clearly, I don't know if it's clear, but clearly the project of Iowa, it is this model. This model is a network. Because this kind of project should develop a special network to provide some new spaces. Another example in Versailles, and the Château de Versailles is a very important chateau in France, obviously, and around the world. A lot of people visiting this chateau, 7 million visitors by year. And the problem is how is possible to manage from the same entrance to develop the entrance of the visit, and also at the same point the exit. In fact, the chateau is too small, but it's impossible to say that. And but it's too small. And we imagine a special development in this courtyard. This courtyard is La Cour des Princes, and we develop, in fact, a double deck with a new main entrance, is a new gallery, and with this staircase, we are creating a new exit. And we develop a new ground sous-sol underneath this building, and we develop under this courtyard the exit for the public, and we introduce this prism in glass in the underground to conduct the artificial light, the natural light, in this part of the courtyard. It is a view during the day and during the night. And this glass instrument, in fact, is an optical instrument, creating or maybe develop a most important presence of the historical architecture. It is also we design the interior of this pavilion in echo of Versailles, but all is in metal. The floor is in metal, and the chandelier is in metal, come from industrial field, and the mesh is in metal like that, you see. And also we refurbished the tank of the king, and Alain Ducasse installed a restaurant at the first floor. This is a strategy to create some new spaces, working with the existing building above, is the statement about the urban design, urban strategy for the Île de la Cité. And the President, François Hollande, asked us to propose or to imagine, if it's possible, a strategy to refurbish the Île de la Cité in Paris. But it's impossible to touch. It's a World Heritage place, and it's impossible to touch the existing architecture. And in fact, we developed 3 layers. The first one is just underground, you will see it just after, to connect all building between the cathedral, the police department, headquarters, the Palace of Justice, the Sainte-Chapelle, the Conciergerie, and the hospital, also the Hôtel Dieu. And finally, we have a layer absolutely efficient to create a new network between these different monuments. And the idea is, for example, for the Place Notre-Dame, is to use the historical foundation of the Hôtel Dieu, because the Hôtel Dieu was along the Seine River. And at the end of the 19th century, you could see the new Hôtel Dieu building under construction, and the place in front of the Cathedral Notre-Dame. And we imagine to open this part, the basement of the historical Hôtel Dieu location. We would like to open this on the Seine River, the place. It is the existing condition, and just behind you have this kind of architecture. And we could imagine a double deck, an entrance with an architectural museum and presentation existing, and we could develop in contact with the Seine River and the boat, public transportation, and the other floor with a glass floor, creating a special reflection between the cathedral and the floor. And you could see, for example, with some collage from different architects we are using, and we provide a totally new relationship between the place of the cathedral, the hospital, and the space underground. Obviously, we connect this kind of part with the public transportation. And along the Seine River, we imagine also to reinvest, to change, to refurbish the uses in this part of the Seine River. And in this kind of project, it's not very difficult. Just we should think about connection, link, and how it's possible to manage together different situations. At the end, we provide a new urban design and new kind of architecture, more sustainable and also more efficient for institutions. And we could create 100,000 new square meter is something in this kind of part of Paris. And for UNESCO is more or less a reference about the transformation concerning historical World Heritage Place. At the end, another project in Korea, in Seoul, and this project is at this moment at the schematic design stage, where we won the competition at the end of the year, 17, and we developed this project with the city of Seoul and with the state of Seoul, because the client is public. And this project is a light walk. It is a project. And the project, in fact, is a new hub with the train, with 2 metro stations there, and with different facilities we will see, and also with some connection between this tower under construction, 600 meter high, and the existing building around. And the idea is to introduce a light into this big volume in concrete. This line is a light walk, and the light walk, in fact, is the entrance, but also is the relationship between the underground situation and the situation of the public space and the above. And we would like to create a place with a garden, just connecting between the district, between two sides of the district along this huge avenue. And this kind of place is important for the people, for citizens. Different uses during the winter, during the summer. And in fact, it is the project. The project is a big box in concrete, 80 meter wide, 50 meter high, and 800 meter long. If I compare with some program in Paris, is a half part of the Champs-Élysées. Just underneath you have Les Halles, and underneath you have Gare Montparnasse. You know, it's something. But the idea and the goal and the challenge for the city of Seoul, and for us also, is to provide a special system to refurbish the downtown. Because this kind of situation about the downtown around the world is the same. The downtown are dry. It's impossible to regenerate this kind of district. We should creating some routes. We should creating some new system of routes for our building. And with a light walk, we introduce the natural light into this big box in concrete. It is a main station, highway, you have a big forum, you have some universities and some other facilities. It's not a shopping mall. The shopping mall existing on the side. And we would like to connect shopping mall with this new situation, urban situation. It is the entrance of the light walk, of the light beam. It is inside when you go down. And this crystal is very interesting because it's not just a glass roof. It's a real building control the light and also control the heat and also control the smoke and all safe system. This reference, I like it, is because for me the floor and the ground floor is there. And it is exactly the project. And the main station, like a cathedral, another reference, a photo of Brassailles. It's a fantastic photo, and with the light coming from the top. You don't know exactly where is the floor. It is a section about the light walk, is a shell in concrete, and it is the light, and immediately the natural light is coming and change the quality of the core of this building. This guy is interesting, and he conducts the light. It's not new, but we could use also about the design, about the ornamentation, and some view. It is one entrance for the metro station with some different level, with the beam and the light. And we would like to build in metal, but also the most part in wood, in bamboo, inside. It's totally a different place. And this place is more or less and step by step in relationship with the existing condition and with the retail and with the car park. And we connect with this project, and we are creating a continuity between all parts. You could see this kind of system of the link between. And also, about the sustainability is absolutely perfect, because if you build a tower, you could have a very good performance about the sustainability, but it's not enough, because if you have this situation, you are in the soil, and immediately you could get this kind of performance, because it's absolutely passive. It's not dynamic. Another view, when you go down from the Greenland into the gallery in this building, and for example, another part of the promenade. And we hope to develop with successful story this project, because certainly this kind of scale and this kind of feeling in this kind of scale change totally the relationship and the human scale and human feeling between this kind of huge metropole, huge district, and I am very confident about this strategy to create some routes for the metropole, some routes for buildings. It's not new. A long time ago, from the beginning of the humanity, and the people and the organize the relationship between the ground floor and themselves and the building itself. And also, I would like to say, the architecture creating some limits with the wall, and this the limit between outside and inside, because the wall is protected, but also the wall is a boundary, is a limit. And now we could imagine some wall and some special quality for the wall to develop an exchange, like an interface between the inside and outside. And the new territory could be open if we consider the floor not like a boundary, not like a finish situation, not like a limit, but like another kind of surface, another kind of possibility and facilities and opportunities, to develop and to expand the world of the architecture. Thank you.